Hi there.
Hi, welcome to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
In yesterday's video, we talked about how we had received a neutral and negative feedback from two different USPS related problems. One, USPS lost the item. The other one, eBay had displayed that the item would be delivered within a 4-day range, and USPS was not able to deliver on that.
No.
Actually, the item still hasn't been delivered, but it's working its way through the system. So we want to talk about negative feedback, what you should do about it, how to handle it, and how it's going to affect your account. So stick with us all the way to the end. We're going to tell you what happened with ours at the end. All right. So first of all,
there's more negative feedback during the holiday season. And there's a multitude of reasons why, right? Because we have more volume because yay, Q4. So we have more sales, which is there's going to be more opportunity for negative experiences for a multitude of reasons, right? And also the USPS is going to have, more shipping delays, more, shipping
all the
packages.
Carriers, all the carriers are going to have more volume. So there is the possibility that all of these packages will be slowed down. So
and people don't like that.
eBay did put out a notification last week to, for sellers to be aware of, let your buyers know that there is a risk that there may be delays. Yeah.
So it might be a good idea if you are like us shipping from Florida and you're shipping something all the way to California or, Hawaii or Alaska, to maybe shoot your customer an email and just say like, hey, we shipped this out today. However, with the holiday season, you might expect some delays. So just FYI.
Right. So setting appropriate expectations can definitely help with, eliminating that negative feedback before it even happens.
Well, because eBay sends them, when we ship, eBay sends your buyer an email that says, hey, your item's been shipped. You can expect it in 2 to 4 days. Excuse me?
No, that's not real.
Yeah,
that's not real. But they do want to set an expectation. And I know for, relatively certain that they are monitoring those times and they want to set a realistic expectation as well. So something else that we can do is make sure that we're taking good photos to set a realistic expectation for our customer.
Right. Well, and not only photos, you want good lighting, you want multitude of photos, right? So that they see it from every angle, they can see exactly what's there, accurate descriptions, anywhere, the title, make sure that it says that it has damage or that it's, we have customers right now during the holiday season who are maybe new to the platform. They don't know the platform. They maybe don't buy secondhand. Typically, they just buy new stuff off Amazon. So, that's another reason why we might get a little more negative feedback during the holiday season, is because we have these new customers who aren't used to the platform.
Right. And that's real. And I love new customers. So we always want to encourage growth within the platform. And I want everybody to, first and foremost, let's actually take a step back, focus that everything that we're doing as sellers is about the buying experience. It's about the buyer's experience. That's how we're getting paid.
Yeah.
As much, animosity as there is out there about, the negatives. It's all about, for us, our job is providing a quality buying experience. So, that's the goal. We talked about one of the first things, huh?
Well, also the whole negative, there's more negative in the holiday season. Sometimes people are just stressed, right? So they'll go straight to the negative feedback, or they don't even give you an opportunity to fix anything or anything like that. They're not happy people, and they want to make sure everyone else isn't happy either. So, unfortunately, that is sometimes it's going to happen more in the holiday season.
Yeah, that is real. Another thing that we talked about with the photos is color. Our camera, our scanner, natural light, artificial light, light box.
It all makes a difference.
It all changes, so try to show different photos in different lighting situations, possibly.
Yeah.
We had a person recently leave us some positive feedback that said that the item was actually darker than what they were expecting.
Yeah.
When I was packing it up, I thought it looked lighter. So, it's one of those things, like, you just really don't know what their camera settings are.
Right. Oftentimes their phones, I keep my phone very dim to save on battery life. Other people have theirs much brighter. Monitor settings are going to be different. So, there is only so much you can do in the world that you can control. But there is a lot that you can control. So, try to do the best that you can. And sometimes you just have to accept that there's going to be a negative feedback,
It's going to happen.
Hard.
If you're selling on eBay, you will eventually get a negative feedback. Something we can do, again, prevention is better than trying to get it removed once it's there.
Absolutely.
So, knowing your category or knowing your product is huge.
It is. So when we were little baby resellers, when we first started our first big buy, we bought an estate of Madame Alexander dolls, like 100 dolls.
Yeah. And it was such a great deal, less than $1 a doll. And I couldn't believe it. I'm over the moon, super excited. I couldn't wait to start listing these. So that's what I did. I started taking pictures and getting them listed, and not just putting up rather generic description. Condition was, pre-owned doll in original box. And all of a sudden, I sold a couple of them and to positive feedback, getting a comfort level there. And then all of a sudden I started getting some
unhappy
customer comments, and they're like, this doll is, the bands are loose on it. And I don't even know what that means, because I'm not a doll buyer. I'm not a doll collector. It was a good deal, and it was something that we thought we could make money on. So I had to educate myself about what that actually meant.
Right. Yeah. Apparently their arms and legs are held on with rubber bands. And then of course, rubber bands, they wear and they dry rot and stuff like that. So we then, after being educated, had to explain in the bottom that these dolls have not been restrung. So, or if they're missing a hang tag, or if they're missing an accessory. Well, we didn't know. We're showing you what we're giving you. We're only saying that whatever is pictured is what is included.
Right.
But people were upset because they're like, hey, this doll is missing her hat or her purse or whatever accessory it was.
Right. And that wasn't disclosed in the condition. It wasn't disclosed in the description.
Right.
So again, that was a misstep on our behalf, and it was something that we had to learn from. We had to learn. We need to do more educating. We need to educate ourselves and our customer about what they're actually going to receive.
Right.
So, the next thing is, you've got the eBay seller protection. So you sold the doll, it's missing a shoe, and you photographed it, and so eBay does have some protections out there for sellers. You didn't show the shoe in the picture.
Right. So you're
covered.
not. Yeah.
You didn't promise the shoe.
Yeah.
You didn't show it in the pictures. Now, ideally, you want to say shoe not included or shoe missing, or,
Right. And that's something you should really put in the title, missing shoe.
Right.
That's what we have now learned to prevent that.
Right.
And then people accept it. Oh, okay, fine. That's fine. They're missing their shoe. I've got another pair of shoes from another doll, or, I'll display it differently, whatever. But now they know. So now you've prevented that negative feedback from ever happening.
Right. So something else that's happened to us is just not having the right packaging. Or not knowing how to package the item properly from the beginning. So we had some beautiful bead necklace.
Yeah, Aurora Borealis
shipped out in our boxes.
Yep. And again, I've shown you my boxes. My jewelry boxes are great. She opened up the jewelry box, and the necklace was wearing, in shipping, on the top of the box. So she opens up that box. She sees that the necklace has been worn on top of the lid of the box, and she's pissed. Like, I opened this thing and now it's a broken product because it's that glaze has been worn off in the shipping process. We refunded her money. We said, send the necklaces back. We apologize. And we learned from the experience. Now we wrap all of our jewelry in tissue paper to help protect it during the shipping process so that it's not rubbing. You know, a lot of the license plates we wrap in plastic so that it's not rubbing on the cardboard. You know, we try to protect
and
those.
We wrap them in cardboard before we ship them in a mailer so they don't get bent in the mail.
Right. And then we stick those do not bend on, you know, on the packaging. We are now showing our customer that we are doing everything within our capability to protect their product and to give them the care that they deserve. And we've actually had lots of feedback that say that, even when the feedback will say, you know, USPS really abused this package, but the seller took care of us and it wasn't the seller's fault. The seller really did a great job of packaging this product.
So let's talk about neutral negative feedback. Like I said, it's not going to affect how your product's going to come up in search. So eBay's not going to punish you because somebody left you negative feedback. They're using a completely different set of measurements to determine your seller level. Okay, so that's going to be your defect rate and all of the stuff that's in your seller dashboard. So you definitely want to keep those things positive. Mm-hmm. Okay,
but the customers will look at your feedback.
Right. So what do I do once I've got this negative feedback? Well, to begin with, eBay gives you the opportunity to leave a reply. Mm-hmm. So it's not just their side of the story. You can add your side of the story. Keep in mind, other people are going to read that. So you want to take a deep breath. You may want to give it a day before you make any responses. Don't tell anybody off on your reply. Don't tell everybody about how terrible this buyer is and how difficult they are. And
even if they are.
Yeah.
Even if all they ever do is leave negative feedback on everybody's pages, don't say that.
Right. This is your opportunity to give your side of the story for a potential buyer to see. So you want your side of the story to be as glowing as possible. Okay. The item was late on delivery, and when it showed up, the guy did a terrible job packaging it, and I'm just so upset. This is something I've been waiting for my whole life. Okay. My response to that is, I'm sorry, you know, we shipped it on time. You know, we double packed it, however we packaged it to ensure it wasn't damaged. And then, you know, you find out, you know, that it was damaged. Well, I refunded them immediately, and I made sure that they got all of their shipping fees back, right? Like I went above and beyond to try to take care of this customer.
Well, and that actually is the first thing that you should do, given the circumstances, is to reach out to the customer, right? So if somebody leaves you negative feedback, the first thing you should do is try to make it right with the customer first.
Right. And we want to make it right with the customer every time. Mm-hmm. Anytime that they come to us and they say that there's a problem, I want to resolve it before they leave negative feedback. We've had plenty of situations where something doesn't meet expectations or there's a problem with the product. We resolve it, and you get a glowing feedback because they go, oh my goodness, they care.
Right. The seller really worked with me to make this right, or, you know, and we've had those kind of feedbacks too.
Right. So, like I said, now we're talking about it's there, it's staring you in the eye. Mm-hmm. What do I do about it? Okay. First and foremost, you have the opportunity that you could reply. Before you do that, eBay gives you the feedback removal tool. And you can talk to your customer, explain your side of the story, try to make it right with them, and see if they'll agree to revise or remove their feedback. And sometimes people will do that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, you gave me my money back, or you said that you were going to, ship me a similar product, or, we have some flexibility to be able to try to make the situation right. And some people are reasonable and they will accept that. And they'll be like, okay, well, he worked with me. He made the situation right. I'm, no harm, no foul. Okay, right. No problem.
Right. Other times, they're not going to be reasonable. Mm-hmm. They're not going to like your apology. They're not going to like your resolution suggestions. They are just dug in, and they want to make sure that you're going to suffer as much as they feel like they suffered. Mm-hmm. So we believe 100% positive feedback because we believe that it's important for customers to have a realistic expectation of what they're going to get, what the experience was. And that's really what eBay's goal is as well. Mm-hmm. So they do offer these seller protections. And if you have feedback that is negative or neutral that violates their policy around feedback or around seller protections, they're there to help you.
Yeah. Okay? So abusive feedback. And we've had this before too, where somebody was just in a snit and they made threatening remarks, or they were just redonkulously abusive to us. eBay's going to respect you right. As the seller. Right. They're going to protect you.
So when you go into the negative feedback tool, the feedback removal tool, they're going to give you a list of things that you can select as to why it should be removed. And mm-hmm. then there's a comment message box. Again, we want to make this as business oriented as possible.
State per eBay policy, this is the violation of the policy. Right. This is why we are requesting. So, the seller or the buyer is, using abusive language. The buyer is making threats, whatever.
Right. So again, that is one section. State the policy, state what happened, mm-hmm. leave the emotion out. Mm-hmm. Make their job easy by telling them where they're going to find it in their own policy, because not everybody that works at eBay is familiar with their own policy.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to know the policy. But right. In this particular case, the negative feedback, the policy is pretty clear, and you can kind of just type in negative feedback protection, and it tells you what the feedback policy is.
Right. Other types of abusive feedback are, and I actually saw somebody had posted, they were really proud of this. They had a bad buying experience with a supplier that they buy dozens of pieces from every month. If you have sold somebody 10 items and they leave you negative feedback on all 10, you can get all 10 of them removed, because that's in violation of eBay policy. Leaving multiple negative feedback for a seller is against the policy.
Which is kind of nice, because they can leave you positive feedback on all of their purchases. We love when that happens.
Right. So again, educate yourself on what the policies are so that you can make sure that you're protected. Mm-hmm. Another thing is things that are out of your control.
Right. So weather. We live in Florida. We have hurricanes. And oftentimes it's been pretty great because, eBay will have a little banner on top. And I don't know if this is for everybody, but it works for us. It'll say, due to, hurricane, whoever, eBay is going to protect you sellers, right. with your
and
shipping.
I know they do that in the Northeast and in the Midwest when they have large blizzards. Mm-hmm. They'll do that in California with wildfires or other types of natural disasters. So, depending on where you are in the country, you may be under seller protections and not even be aware of it. Another thing is that just general delays that are out of your control. We, like I said, on our items.
That's what happened with us.
Right.
Yesterday we were complaining because it hurts your heart when you're like, I did everything within my power. And both of those were outside of our control. That's not fair.
Right.
So he started digging and he goes, okay, well, what is their policy? Let's educate ourselves so that we can find out what's going on.
eBay seller protection is going to cover you mm-hmm. if the item's out of your control. If we shipped our item on time and the the carrier had a delay that caused your product to show up late, you're covered.
Yeah.
They'll automatically remove that negative feedback. If they don't, reach out to them through the negative feedback removal tool. Explain to them in the comment section that the item was shipped on time and that, the carrier had a delay causing the product to arrive late.
Right. So like he said, like they're supposed to do that automatically, but they didn't do that automatically with either of ours, the neutral or the negative. So he then had to go into the system and get that going.
Right. As a side note, I would suggest doing it on your computer, filling out the form and submitting it, opposed to contacting customer service. Customer service does not have the authority to remove feedback, nor do they understand all the policies. Okay, so it's a completely different team, to my knowledge, that's going to remove those negative feedback. So use your computer, file it through the computer. It gives you an opportunity to have a very concise description as to what happened and how it's in violation of policy. It's going to be your best opportunity, in my opinion.
And then, like, it worked. So today he, got the emails saying that it was successful and the negative feedback was removed.
Right. So I sat down, and again, the problem isn't the negative feedback. The problem for me was the amount of time it's going to take me to go through the process. I did reach out to the customers. I apologized immediately. The one person had purchased a postcard. It was supposed to be shipped, it was supposed to be arriving to them mid-October. By Halloween, they still hadn't received it. So I refunded them the money. We took a $3 hit. It was a postcard. It wasn't something that was very expensive. I then went and I actually filed an insurance claim on the $3 out of pure principle.
Right.
Because I'm upset about the fact that I'm in this bad situation with my customer. The customer had left the neutral feedback. So I did reach out to eBay requesting, stating that it was a USPS lost the package. We have an insurance claim on it. We have documentation. The tracking shows that it was shipped on time.
Which is a lot of work for a $3 item.
Right. And but again, the person was really excited about the product, and I understand that. I do understand that, and we want to take care of them as much as we can. The other person, I reached out to them as well, and they were expecting their item to be delivered. They had purchased it on a Saturday night. We had done our shipping on Sunday morning. So eBay had contacted them, letting them know, hey, your item's been shipped. Well, clearly it didn't leave our property until Monday morning.
Right. But eBay, again, told them, hey, your item's been shipped. You can expect it in 2 to 4 days.
Right. So he was expecting the item to be delivered on Friday prior to Veterans Day.
Right.
He wanted this patch so that he could add it to his uniform for the Veterans Parade, which he didn't get. And I absolutely understand. And I wish he had gotten it because, we want to take care of our customers. We went to the Veterans Parade in our town.
Right.
I absolutely understand that. It's important for people to have these types of things. So he left negative feedback because he didn't
was
get
told. Yes. So his negative feedback was, I was told that I was going to get this item in time, and then I didn't. And he was mad. And I get it because eBay told him that he was going to get his item in time. And, there's nothing worse than having those expectations and then completely missing the mark.
Right. So I reached out to him and I had apologized. He didn't contact us before he left the negative feedback.
He went straight to negative feedback.
Right. So I reached out to him. I explained to him that, we had never had a conversation. He said he was told. We never told you that. I explained to him that eBay sends out these emails. It's based on USPS,
estimations,
estimated, delivery times. He's only one state away. He should have gotten it, as far as I'm concerned. But things happen. And we refunded him his $3 immediately, and I apologize. I said, we've refunded you the money. Please consider removing the feedback. Okay. He agrees to do it. So I send him the feedback removal request, and then he doesn't do it. So that was very disappointing. Because I wanted to resolve it with him first before escalating to eBay. And I think that that's just a general good rule of thumb, is always try to resolve things with your buyer first before escalating it to the eBay customer service or selling department. So we, like I said, this morning I did have to, go in and request the negative feedback to be removed.
Per the policy
stating that USPS had, received the item within the time frame that we had stated, and that they had, been slow and they didn't deliver it. And again, he bought it on the 5th. Today's the 17th. He still hasn't received it,
which is just nuts.
Yeah. So it's been 12 days and, it's still out there. He got his money back. We got our negative feedback removed. So we're happy with the situation in the end. Obviously, it was a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And I don't like seeing that negative feedback on there. There's another part of this. Sometimes it's deserved. And I know that's hard to accept.
It is.
We had some negative feedback on our account pretty consistently over the last couple of years, where one or two people, and we deserved it.
No one is perfect, right? Sometimes you lose a product. Sometimes you sell a product that maybe you didn't even notice was like, there's times when like the jewelry that I sell, right? I really try to inspect everything that I sell, but occasionally something will float by, and maybe it's missing a teeny tiny stone and I didn't notice it. And, people can get pissed, obviously, about that. And, in that situation, we would definitely give them their money back. We don't want to sell a broken product. Sometimes that's not good enough for people, and they really, really, really want to leave negative feedback. Or like he said, sometimes it's deserved. Sometimes we screw up. We're all human. There is no possible way that we can please every single person in the world.
Right. So sometimes you just have to live with it. Like I said, you do have the opportunity to reply.
And learn from it.
And learn from it, move forward. If you think that it wasn't deserved, and, you try the feedback removal tool and it doesn't work for you, somehow you're going to have to make peace with that. But try to learn from the situation.
Right.
And if you think that the person was just a complete jerk and you don't ever want to deal with them again, you can always block them using the eBay block tool. So I hope that if you are selling on eBay, that you are having positive selling experiences. I hope that no one out there is getting negative feedback. But if you are, I hope that something that we've added today can help you get through that system.
Yeah. And I mean, we hope that Q4 is awesome for you, that your sales are great and that your feedback is awesome. And, we really hope that this is a great Q4, because we all deserve it after this summer. My goodness.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks so much. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Thanks so much, guys.